going to resume another Daniel class by God's grace. So before anything else, we'll just have a little talk. Loving and eternal Father in heaven, as we come before you this afternoon, we pray, O Lord, that your Holy Spirit will be with us, that your name will be glorified in all things, and that we will get the understanding that is needed about the necessity of prayer. We thank you for your mercy and your love, for we ask these things in Jesus' holy and precious name we pray. Amen. So, we are in Daniel chapter 9, and we started to a certain extent to exegete Daniel chapter 9. And what we saw from Daniel chapter 9 is that the first half of Daniel chapter 9 deals with Daniel's prayer for himself and also for his people. Daniel chapter 9, right? The first half deals with his prayer for himself and also for his people. Not that Daniel was in any transgression against God's law, but it is good sometimes when you still pray and ask God for the necessities. One of the necessities is understanding. One of the necessities is wisdom. One of the necessities is that you be in all time sinfulness. Those are the kind of prayer that Daniel will pray for himself. Because he was a person that always abide in Christ. He was in all time sinfulness. So he will obviously pray that God will keep him in all his ways, keep him in the truth, keep him that he does not turn back. Because sometimes walking in the faith of Jesus Christ, sometimes you can get very listless and unconcerned in regards to your spiritual experience. You don't want that to happen. You want to be abiding all the time by the grace of God. So Daniel's the first half of Daniel chapter 9 was for himself and also for his people. This chart that we are seeing on the board here, right? This is 70 weeks that was cut off of the 2300 days or years. Well, Sister Ward gave a little bit about it this morning, right? So this 70 weeks that we have here was cut off of the 2300 years. Now this 70 weeks here would be the starting of the 2300 days or years. It will start from 457, right? And end a little way here, right? So this 70 weeks that is cut off of the 2300 days or years was allotted for Daniel and his people. And when Daniel saw a certain time in regards to the prophecy, Daniel decided that he will say a prayer for himself and also for his people. So we wouldn't really hold prayer, but we will read some of it, right? Let's Daniel chapter 9, verse 2. Let's read from verse 1. It says, in the first year of Darius, son of Ahasuerus, of the seed of the Medes, which was made king over the realm of the Chaldeans. So here we see that Darius was of the seed of the Medes. Which one of the kingdom took over from Babylon? Huh? The Medes. The Medes and the Persians, they took over from Babylon. So in the first year of Darius, the Median, Daniel prayed this prayer. So that means that Daniel and his people went 70 years in Babylonian captivity. Now the 70 years in Babylonian captivity is not the 70 weeks, right? This is before the 70 weeks. So that means 70 years in Babylonian captivity was already passed. And then the Median took over, the Medes. That's where the 457 started. And that is where you will find Daniel in Daniel chapter 9 now started to give his prayer. So this is not, when you are looking at the prayer of Daniel in Daniel chapter 9, take into consideration it is in the time of the Medes and the Persians, not in the time of the Babylonians, which was before, right? So that means Daniel spent 70 years in Babylonian captivity. They were now coming out. Daniel read other prophets and recognized that his people was going to be delivered. So let's read verse 2. It says it. In the first year of his reign, which is Darius' reign of the Medes, in the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, understood by books the number of the years whereof the word of Yahweh came to Jeremiah the prophet, that he would accomplish 70 years in the desolation of Jerusalem. So Daniel was reading Jeremiah. So that means Jeremiah was in the time Daniel was existing. And Daniel is saying that he was reading Jeremiah's book and found out that 70 years have already passed in Babylonian captivity. Now the Medes and the Persians is going to take over and something is going to happen to his people, right? So this is where the 70 weeks starts in the time of the Medes and the Persians, right? Verse 3. This is the start of Daniel's prayer. He says, and I set my face unto Yahweh God to seek by prayer and supplications with fasting and sackcloth and ashes. And I prayed unto Yahweh my God, and made my confession, and said, O Yahweh, the great and dreadful God, keeping the covenant and mercy to them that love him, and to them that keep his commandments. So here Daniel starts off with his prayer. It says that he seeks God by prayer and supplication with fasting, sackcloth, and ashes. And as I said, Daniel was in all-time sinfulness. But still, even though Daniel was in all-time sinfulness, he still seeked the face of God by prayer and supplication with fasting and sackcloth and ashes. And he said that he made his confession. Right? So, we are asking ourselves, right? We are asking ourselves, if Daniel was in this situation, was it really necessary that he will seek God's face with prayer and fasting and sackcloth and ashes? You see, Daniel's prayer was not really for himself. Daniel's prayer was for his people. And when you have genuine concern about people, and you see that they are taking a certain path, your thoughts towards them is so sincere that you want to make sure that they get the blessing that you are getting, that they are getting all the things that God wants them to have. And this was Daniel's thought towards his people. 70 years has passed. Now they are going to get deliverance. They are going to start an autonomous state. They are going to go back to their land. What kind of mindset do these people have? Are they going into the land with the same mindset that they had in Babylon? They took up a lot of things from Babylon. A lot of human sacrifice, a lot of animal sacrifices, a lot of things that they learned from Babylon. Are they going back to their land with that same mindset? These are the concerns that Daniel had. So Daniel decided to pray on behalf of his people. Let's read verse 7. Right? It says, O Yahweh, righteousness belongeth unto thee. Right? It says, righteousness belongeth unto thee. Verse 9. It says, to Yahweh our God belongeth mercy and forgiveness, though we have rebelled against him. Verse 10. Neither have we obeyed the voice of Yahweh our God to walk in his laws which he set before us by his servants the prophets. So one of the things that we know, one of the main things that we know is that they broke the commandments of God. Brother Medina gave a very beautiful chart here this morning in regards to the law of God. The 10 commandments, the standard of the judgment, where every thought, every motive, every word is judged. They have broken the commandments of God. One of the things is to pick up other gods with God. And Daniel was concerned for his people. Daniel was genuinely concerned for his people. Let's read verse 17. Let's read verse 17. It says, Now therefore, O God, hear the prayer of thy servant and the supplications, and cease and cause thy face to shine upon the sanctuary that is desolate for Yahweh's sake. Now when the Babylonians took over and the Babylonians seized the city of Jerusalem, many times they even took one of the kings and took out his eyes and killed his sons and so on. They were in constant rebellion against Nebuchadnezzar. And now Daniel is saying that the sanctuary is there desolate. As far as the Jews are concerned, the sanctuary was the center of their service. If God was there with the sanctuary, that means God was with them. And now the sanctuary is desolate. That means God has deserted them. So Daniel saw that this end of the 70 years, where they will go back to the land, was an opportunity to have God with them again. You know, operating with them, doing the service to Yahweh God, and getting the blessings from Yahweh God. But this 70 weeks, which was cut off, of the 2300 days, have a very sad history. Very sad history. That 70 weeks is calculated into 490 years. You and I have not lived for 100. Yet, that 70 weeks calculated into 490 years ended in a sad, sad history for Daniel's people. And even though Daniel prayed for his people, the thoughts of the heart of the individual still have to change. You can pray as much as you want. If the thoughts of the heart doesn't change, you're not getting anywhere with anyone. You have to pray that God give people sincerity and honesty, and pray that God really work for their behalf. So, Daniel is praying this prayer. But when Daniel was praying this prayer, before we go to that, when Daniel was praying this prayer, something significant happened. Something significant happened. Let's look at verse 19. Let's look at verse 19. It says, O Yahweh, hear. O Yahweh, forgive. O Yahweh, hearken and do. Defer not, for thine own sake, O my God. For thy city and thy people are called by thy name. This is a significant thing. And whilst I was praying, this is Daniel, and whilst I was praying and confessing my sins and the sins of my people Israel, presenting my supplication before Yahweh my God for the holy mountain of my God. Yea, whilst I was speaking in prayer, even the man Gabriel, whom I have seen in the vision at the beginning, being caused to fly swiftly, touched me about the time of the evening oblation. And he informed me and talked with me and said, O Daniel, I am now come forth to give thee skill and understanding. At the beginning of thy supplication, the commandment came forth. I am come to show thee, for thou art greatly beloved. Therefore understand the matter and consider the vision. So whilst Daniel was praying, light years away, passed out of space into something called heaven, an angel Gabriel flies so fast and came down to this earth so fast that Daniel didn't even finish his praying, and Gabriel was there waiting to bless Daniel with his prayer. It means that God had acknowledged the prayer of Daniel. The Bible said the prayer of a righteous man availeth much. So Daniel was beloved of God. He was a righteous man before God. And he was praying on behalf of his people. Genuinely praying on behalf of his people. And The angel came and the angel told him, I am now come to give you skill and understanding. You know, as a people, as Tuesday 7 Adventists, we are in Daniel chapter 12 called the wise, because we understand prophecy and we understand the doctrines of Jesus Christ. And with understanding prophecy, PPPH, prophetic, progressive physical history, and progressive knowledge, prophetic knowledge, we become the children of the wise. Because by learning these things, understanding these things, we understand how late time is and how much we need to prepare. So we are in St. Phineas as wise virgins, preparing for the second coming of Jesus Christ. And this was Daniel. Daniel, right? The angel told Daniel in verse 22, he says, and he informed me and talked with me and said, O Daniel, I am now come forth to give thee skill and understanding. So one of the things that Daniel will get by the prophecy is understanding. And one of the things that we get by prophecy is understanding. Understanding just not to do anything. When you understand something, when you conceptualize something, especially the truths of the plan of salvation, it is for you to act upon. And if you do not act upon what you know as truth, you will not see yourself off in that understanding. That understanding, like it falls on the ground, and it does not benefit you at all, at all, at all, at all. So one of the things that you must have, you must always ask God for is understanding. To know and to do what is right. Right? So, the 2300 days or years in Daniel chapter 9 starts off at the time, the date 457, and ends somewhere in the time of Christ. Right? The Bible says it was cut off of the 2300 days or years. Let us see why God cut it off. Let us see why it was cut off. Let's look at verse 24. Let's look at verse 24. It says this: 70 weeks are determined or cut off upon thy people and upon thy holy city to finish transgression. So why was the 70 weeks cut off? Why was 70 weeks cut off? Simple. Simple. Would you say that one for me? Let's continue. And to make an end of sin. Is that hard? So one thing we know, the 70 weeks, 490 years. 490 years cut off to finish transgression and make an end of sin. Simple, right? Simple, right? I tell you, this 70 weeks or 490 years, which they were supposed to make an end of sin, and also to finish transgression, end in so sad a history that they killed our Lord Jesus Christ because they didn't want to do two things: finish transgression, make an end of sin. You know, they killed the Lord Jesus Christ because they didn't want to do those two things, and they were given 490 years for that. Think about it. Think about you and I coming in the faith of Jesus Christ. We are here sometimes 8, 9, 10, 15, and all God tells us is that He don't want us to transgress the law of God. He don't want us to sin. He don't want us to break the commandments. He don't want us to constantly be in that transgression. Don't constantly be in your sin, to have iniquity upon iniquity upon iniquity. And you are here 15 years and that is not accomplished. And that is a history. 490 years to finish sin in transgression. Consider it, brethren, consider it. Consider it very, very carefully. Because, you know, when you and I were called to Tuesday Seventh-day Adventists, whether we were called 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, don't look at it slight. The reason why we were called at that time is because God wants us to overcome and to make sure that we get a place in that city. If we call you today, Mark, or today, December, so and so day, you think God does not know why He called you at that day? He called you because He wants you to make your calling an election sure. But some of us take it like, you know, I just come to the faith and I learn the truth. But that particular time is given to make your calling and your selection sure. Because when God called you, now you become a potential inheritor to be part of the kingdom. But if you don't make your calling and election sure, will you be able to eat of the tree of life? If you let certain things keep you back, would you be able to eat of the tree of life? You're not entering into the city. You and I are called potential inheritors. But we have to work out our salvation with fear and trembling. It means that temptation will come, trials will come, you work it out. You make sure that you go on your knee and you pray. You make sure you go on your knee and you fast. And you ask God, say, Lord Father, give me your Holy Spirit and help me to overcome. And always when God calls us, there is always a time when God calls us, this is your calling. You repent of your sins, you accept the truth. You're fervent in the truth. You feel you can cut down any tree that passed by. Because you want to tell everybody about justification by faith. At a point in time, your first love experience. At a point in time, there are certain things that God is going to bring up to your consciousness. And there are certain things that you will have to deal with. Sometimes people don't pass this. Sometimes they go back out in the world. Why? Because sometimes when the trial comes, it meets thorns, it meets thistles. Sometimes the word of God dropped by the wayside. Sometimes, you know, the cares of this life burn it out. But sometimes, when you get that trial there at that time, people take it and and they find it so strange. As a Christian, why is this happening to me? Why am I getting this temptation? They feel that when they came to Christ, everything's supposed to be just smooth. But the Bible says trials and temptation you will always have with you. So once you pass that trial and you pass that temptation, you go on a little smoothness again. And then a test come again. And the trial and temptation, sometimes you give up the faith when you see the trial, right? Because as far as you're concerned, why is this happening to me? You lose your job, you're not working, you have to depend upon people, things that you never do in your life. You know? So you go on like that, you endure this one. When you endure that, now every time you get the trial, every time you're being tested, every time you get a temptation, every time you go through a trial and temptation, and you make sure that you keep the faith of Christ in your heart, and you work it out by faith and you abide, do you know that you get a blessing? Do you know that? And you're settling yourself. That trial actually makes you become a potential inheritor. So you're settling yourself. Alright, okay, so better call me. Give me one of the blessings that you can get in a trial. Spiritual blessing that is.
Well, you can develop patience in a trial. Sometimes you might want something to work out for you quickly, but it is not the will of God for it to work out for you quickly, so you have to wait.
See one of these things that you get in it? Patience. Patience is a trait that you should have as a Christian. So God allowed that to happen for you to get patience. Could you go back now into the trial that you got and say that you got the blessing of patience? Go back in a trial that you had and you had to work it through, and you had to endure, and you had to face all kind of adversity, and tell me if you got the blessings that God wanted you was to get. Give me a next blessing. I'm hearing gratitude. I'm hearing wisdom. Trust. Sincerity. What about perseverance? What about patience? Patience. So always when God allows certain things to happen to you and I, it's for you and I to get discipline. Yes.
First Peter chapter 5 and verse 10, right? Showing us that these things are going to happen. We face this, God allows it to happen, right? It says this, First Peter chapter 5 and verse 10, but the God of all grace, who hath called us unto his eternal glory by Christ Jesus, after that ye have suffered a while. Suffered how? Under trials, under testings. Right? It says, after you have suffered a while, make you what? Perfect. Establish. Strengthen. Settle you. So in other words, when the testing and the trials come, it is to make you become settled in the faith that you will not move. It is to strengthen you. But it's the God of all grace that allowed that to happen to you. So once you depend upon Him, you learn to trust God more. If you never to trust Him more or plenty, you learn to trust Him plenty because they need to depend upon Him to come true. And when they come true, people will see you are more being established in the faith. This happened to this brother or this sister, and they ain't going nowhere because they were established in the faith by the grace of God.
When you go through your trial, and you go through the temptation, and you go through the hardship, you often get a kind of peace and experience and happiness in the truth. Do you know that? Do you know it is at that time that God now is going to make you help another person who is going through that same trial? Do you know that? Huh? What about praying for some judgment? What about God putting you through the temptation for some judgment? Alright. Something happened to Brother Kwame and myself. Sister Cheryl is a good friend of mine. And in that trial that Sister Cheryl is facing, not more so me and Brother Kwame, I have my temptation, I have my trials. Brother Kwame have his temptation, he have his trial. But Sister Cheryl is brought into the matter, and the matter is for her to judge some judgment. What about if Sister Cheryl decides not to judge the matter based upon righteousness, but judge because of friendship? Would you think Sister Cheryl would get the blessing of righteous judgment at that time?
I would say in the person's mind, you have a wrong idea of friendship. Because the Bible says a friend loveth at all times. So if you're judging based upon favoritism, or some kind of familiarity you have with the person, that is wrong judgment. You're not loving the person at that time.
So Brother Cameron, do you think that person would all that in their mind at that point in time?
If they're walking by faith, they're supposed to work it out. Because the Bible says the just shall live by faith. So the minute they didn't do that, it means they're not walking by faith. But here the twist, the opposite side to that now. So let's say it's Brother Kwame. And Brother Kwame recognize that, okay, somehow you're wrong, and the person making a judgment in favor of him, and you know you're wrong. You know you have to correct the person.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to love the person and correct them.
That's the point.
You see? So,
But we was talking about at that point in time, the temptation or the trial was for the sister. At that point in time, sometimes people don't think about, it's not my friend, it's my friend, it's righteousness, it's truth. You're not thinking about that. All you're thinking about is Sister Dell and my friend. And that, as far as I'm concerned, it is not because of Kwame and Sister Dell. I am friend with Sister Dell, so my judgment would be for picking up for Sister Dell. Not because it's right, not because it's righteous judgment. And sometimes we do that all the time. And we don't even recognize that that is a trial for us too. That is a trial for us too. Some judgment is trial for us too. As a church, sometimes God allows it as a church, and you as a church have to make a decision whether you want to choose this or that. And that God puts us through all the time. So apart from your own temptation, God allow it as a church. One of the things One of a situation that happened just recently there, the situation with Susan. And as a church, if you had chosen a bias prejudice position, you would have been on the wrong side. So as a church, God allows you to do that. And we have to make sure that our judgment is always on the right side.
Yes, let me just say this too, right? Remember, as a church, all of us are here together, and all of us supposed to be walking by faith. There are times where a person may not walk by faith, but not because you're familiar with the person or you and the person take up or more closer than that you might meet another person. That means to say that if something happens, you will just judge or talk in favor of the person. Remember,
It shouldn't.
It shouldn't.
Like in all situations, it shouldn't.
It shouldn't, but the point is this. What I'm saying is this. If even though you didn't do it, like you didn't do what you were supposed to do, if the other person is conscious that look, we are all fellow men, or we are all fellow brethren, and we're supposed to love each other, then if you didn't do it because of it's a test for you and you didn't abide and you fail, then the other person in love to you must correct you. If they don't, then they fall in the same category as you. Because the Bible says a friend loveth at all times. You see? So it must be that if two of us are friends and at some time you didn't abide and I abide, then I'm supposed to correct you. If sometime I didn't abide and you abide, you're supposed to correct me. And that's what we're supposed to do.
You know, sometimes with that unsung judgment, hate, pride, envy, and all these things come with it as well. What about if Sister Cheryl tells me, right, that I was right, and this brother here saw what Sister Cheryl did, and she goes to speak to Sister Cheryl, and Sister Cheryl said, I don't want to hear anything. As my friend, I am backing her. Would it be right for Sister Cheryl to say that? So with all of it, it comes, it is a holistic thing, right? And sometimes it comes easy. That's why I said the temptation comes always to try you and to try me, and we have to make sure that we are in the faith of Jesus Christ. Right? So by the grace of God, that was Daniel chapter 9. Starting back of Daniel chapter 9. By God's grace, I hope you'll understand. Don't make your 490 years run out on you, right? Make your calling and election showing 15 years, 7 years, 10 years, however God allow you to stay in the faith. Make sure that you make an end of sin and you finish transgression. Amen?
It did stress my mind earlier. I turned away from it and as I say that, it come back to my mind. So I'll quote it, right? Exodus chapter 34, verse 6 and 7, right? Yes. Exodus chapter 34, verse 6 and 7, as she's appealing to us to make an end of transgression. Right? And it says here, and Yahweh passed by before him and proclaimed, Yahweh, Yahweh God, merciful and gracious, long-suffering and abundant in goodness and truth. So this is who Yahweh is. He's long-suffering, he's merciful. Look, we see he gave them 490 years. It shows he's long-suffering and he's merciful. Yes. He's abundant in goodness and truth. So whatever errors in your mind, he is abundant in truth to be able to address it. Right? And it goes on to say, and because he's like that, this is what happened here. Keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin. And that will by no means clear the guilty. So God will not clear the guilty. Why? Because he's abundant in mercy and truth. He has all the graces to help you. And when God gives us an opportunity to make an end of transgression, Let us seek his face by seeking the truth to understand that we may have victory over our sins and that we may have right to the tree of life to enter into the city.
So we just close off with the word of prayer. Dear loving and eternal Father in heaven, as we come before you this afternoon, we are grateful and thankful to you, dear Father, for the time that you have called us in faith, for the time that you have given us to make an end of sin and to finish transgression and to make our calling and election sure. Please help us, dear Father, for us not to let the time run out on us, for your second coming is late, even at the doors, and what we must do quickly. Please help us, dear Father, that we will be in sincerity, honesty, and love to you, that the time that you have given us in the faith, that we will work out our salvation with fear and trembling. Have mercy upon us and continue to save us away from our sins and help us to rededicate ourselves back to you. It's these things we ask in Jesus' holy and precious name we pray. Amen. Amen.